welcome to Books with Lexi. Today I'm going to see if my reading taste lines up with Sarah from Sarah's Shelves. So this is the third episode I'm doing of this series where I want to see how my reading tastes match up with some of my booktuber friends. I have done this video with Michelle from Michelle's Library and Gabby from Ola Books, and there have been some mixed results. So I'm excited to continue doing this, and I am really excited but nervous to do this with my friend Sarah from Sarah's Shelves. If I had to pick someone who had the most opposite reading taste to me, it would probably be Sarah. We generally don't like anything the same, but every once in a while, like with Gallows Hill, we both gave it 5 stars. So hopefully things will go well in this video. So we both swapped 3 books. Sarah gave me 3 books, 2 she likes and 1 she did not. And I did the same for her. So Sarah also has a video that you should check out that is this same thing where she's reading the books I gave her. So make sure you watch that. It will be linked for you. I'm really excited that Sarah agreed to do this with me, even though we don't like the same things. Sarah has a great channel, so definitely make sure you are subscribed to her and you watch her version of this video. So in this, I will be reading the 3 books she gave me, 2 she liked, 1 she did not. I don't know her opinions of these, so it's really to see if things line up. And then we will also be doing a buddy read. We have picked Hello Transcriber, so this will be in this video as well. I hope you enjoy another installment in this series, so let's get into it. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. My heart is racing. I'm so nervous to watch this, but I'm really excited. Okay, I'm gonna shut up and we're gonna watch it.
Hi, it is I, here to burden you with 3 books that you have to read because of me. I'm just gonna jump right into it. Here we go. First book, The Obsession by Jessie Q. Sutanto. This book follows our 2 main characters, Delilah and Logan. It's told in dual POV, and it follows their obsessive love story. The next book, Layla by Colleen Hoover. In this book, we were following Layla and Leeds, who fall in love, then something happens to Layla, and to try to rekindle their love, they go to a bed and breakfast, and that's all I'm gonna say. Then the last book that I want you to read is Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. In this book, we were following our main character, Charlie, whose IQ is very, very, very low, and he gets the opportunity to undergo this treatment to become smarter. And for this one, I do have very specific instructions. So this one, I do need you to read it physically because it's written in a very specific way, and that specific way did impact my final rating of this book, and whether that impact was negative or positive is for you to decide and for you to come to the conclusion of. Thank you so much for having me do this with you, and I cannot wait for your final thoughts on these books. Hopefully you don't hate all of them. Fingers crossed, but yeah, that's it. Bye.
I don't even remember the first one anymore. I got so surprised by Layla that I don't remember what the first one is. Oh, The Obsession by Jessie Q. Sutanto. Okay, so that is one that I actually was interested in. I think this is YA, which I don't usually love, but I have loved YA recently, and I've loved from this author before. So I'm excited for that. I've never ever in my life planned on reading Layla, so I've never heard of this last book. So, okay, okay, I'm gonna get my hands on these books, and I will see you once I start reading. I'm finally back. It's been like a long time since I was told these books, and if we're being honest, I kind of was putting a lot of them off, and I decided to start with the one that I figured I would probably like the least, and that is Layla by Colleen Hoover. So I have this physically, obviously. I got this from my library, and also I don't usually have Audible, but they had a deal, so I currently have Audible, and this was in the Plus catalog. I'm petting you. I'm sorry, I'm talking to someone else. So I am listening to that as well, And I decided to start this last night because honestly I'm behind on videos, so I need to read this book today. I ended up getting a third in before I went to bed, and in a shocking plot twist, I'm actually really liking this. So we are following Leeds and Layla, and they meet because Leeds is in a band at Layla's sister's wedding. They end up like very quickly becoming in this like whirlwind, I can't speak, whirlwind, yes, whirlwind romance. And they end up like moving in together. And then this like event happens. She ends up in the hospital, and it takes her a while to physically recover, and mentally, like, she has PTSD from this. She now has terrible anxiety, and she hasn't been like back to normal. So Leeds decides to take her back to the house that they first met in. It was like a B&B that they stayed in for Layla's sister's wedding, and it is now for sale. So he was able to like rent it for a couple weeks. So they go there, and Layla's behavior starts to get really weird. And then also there's this other thing happening. On the back it says that there's another guest of the B&B with whom he forms a connection through their shared concerns. I don't know if I can really say anything about that. But I wasn't expecting the direction this went in. I think one of the reasons I like this so much is the format of it. I'm sorry, Bowser. It starts off with the interview. So Leeds is talking to this like unknown like guy that is interviewing him. It says he's a detective, but like things are suspicious. So we start off with that, and then we get the interview at the end of every chapter. So in the like, I guess, past storyline, because the interview is technically the present day. And there's some weird things happening in that, but in the past like main storyline, we are watching them get to this place, and like the weird things start to happen, and then in the interview we know kind of how things turned out, and we are learning even more backstory through that. So I really like the format. I do have to say I don't like Colleen Hoover, okay? Like, I've read Ugly Love, which is really random for me to have read, and I didn't really like it. Like, I guess I thought it was okay, but there's been some things with her and her son, and I don't approve of that. So just wanted to put that out there. Regardless of if I like this or not, I'm not going to be shouting from the rooftops like, go buy this book. She already has enough money, and I don't need to promote her because personally I just don't. I don't want to, but I am really liking this so far. Hi, sorry for this lighting. I need a lamp. I have a lamp one over there, but like my ring light is just so bright right in my face whenever it's already kind of dark. So I need like a lamp to put over there. Anyway, you don't care. You want to know what I'm thinking about Layla. I'm pretty close to the end. I'm 220 pages in. I think there's 290 pages. But like, why am I liking this so much? That is my question to myself. I will be honest, I went in expecting to hate this book. I really did. So that does tell you that my expectations don't mean that I'm going to like or dislike a book. Because like in my heart, I want to dislike this book. But I'm having such a great time. Like, it's ridiculous. It's kind of weird. But also it's like weirdly fun and like messed up. Like, this dude, he has problems. Like, he's an idiot. But I'm liking it. I don't know. I don't know. So, that is my very quick update before the end. I don't have much left. I do have sprints for Patreon, and I know Sarah's gonna be there, so I have to finish this before then because I don't want to be reading it and like have her see my reaction or anything because this is top secret. Well, now it's not, but right now it is. So, I'm gonna finish this. I'll be back very soon. This book was something else. Okay. Uh, okay. I have some things. One, I think I'm gonna give this. Okay, I don't know. I'll tell you later. I'm not sure yet. So, I think if you're looking at this as a romance, no. No. But if you're looking at this as a fun thriller that has like romantic characters in it, but they are not having a romance, this was so fun. Am I feeling like 4.5 stars? I went into this book honestly expecting to hate it. The idea of Colleen Hoover's books, don't like it. So sorry. Please don't unsubscribe. I just like Colleen Hoover books are not for me generally. But this one, I don't know. I think the formatting of it really helped. Yeah, like there were a bunch of crappy things that happened in here. That's why like I feel like reading it as a thriller, that all felt fine because like I never once was like, "Oh, the romance." And like I don't know if people think that. Do people think that about this book? If you do, that's a different conversation. But reading it as a thriller, like yeah, there's going to be crappy things that happen even if it's between like couples, just because like that's what happens in thrillers. So I don't know. I don't know. If someone straight up told me this was a romance book, like this is not it for that. But I had a really good time reading it. I flew through it. So I started this at like maybe 11 or 11:30 last night and then I finished it right before 6. That is including sleeping all night, watching TV, hanging out with Adam for a lot of the day. Those are my thoughts on it. As a romance, no. As a thriller, yes. But once again, there's some stuff with Colleen Hoover that like don't like that. So I'm surprisingly glad I read this. So the next book that I'm gonna be reading is Flowers for Algernon. I will say I have started this and I know why I was told to read it physically. I'm 22 pages in, and so far things are not going well. So I'll come back once I'm probably a third out dropping things. Um Once I'm a third in and give you like a synopsis and everything, but I hope things improve because I am not liking this book. We're gonna ignore the fact that I'm still wearing this. I'm about to shower, but I wanted to update you on Flowers for Algernon because I hate it. Okay, this is a book that was written in 1959, and the back tells you everything that has happened in the whole book, pretty much. So, I feel like there's no spoilers in this book, so I'm just going to tell you everything because it's making me very angry. So, we're following our main character, Charlie, and he has an IQ of 68, which according to Google is like very below average. So, he is in like a special school for this. He's been pretty much recruited to get this surgery on his brain to make him smarter. And I hate that. I hate the idea that people who have any sort of disability needs to be fixed to have a good life, and how like they should all be getting surgery because the idea is that he is the test subject. Like this has only been tested on mice and he doesn't know what he's agreeing to. I mean, he kind of does, but like they have to get permission from a family member, so his they call his sister, who like he doesn't even know who his sister is, and she agrees to it, and that's like valid for them. That makes me so mad. Like I just pisses me off. um and then the way it's written, oh my god. Okay, maybe I think it's on focus. So like that's how it's written until he gets this surgery, and magically, without like actually learning things. He's just magically smarter. That's not how that works. Like, between the span of 3 days, he like magically goes from writing like that all the time to just like knowing correct grammar and spelling for everything and like all this stuff. And like, no, that's not how that works either. And then he does get smarter, and he's like aggressive all the time, which like that's not my issue. But he's specifically aggressive to the one female character and like acting like she owes him a romantic relationship. And that's not okay. The whole thing is not it. You can tell by some language choices that this was written in 1959, which like I get it, but it still sucks. And the the whole thing is just really making me angry. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, I am not a scientist by any means, not a brain doctor, not anything, but even if you somehow can get a surgery to increase your IQ, you still have to learn things, right? You don't just like magically have this information popping into your head. Like, yeah, you would realize things differently and stuff like that, but it's like educational things. Like, out of nowhere, he's like knows everything that nobody else knows. Like, that's just not how it works. I don't like, you could have a really high IQ, and if you never learned chemistry, you're not going to just magically know it. Like, right? Am I dumb? So, that is how I'm feeling about this book. I think I'm 37, 38% in. Not enjoying my time. I did listen to Sarah, and whenever it was like written in the way I showed you, I read it physically. I did switch to the audio once he started writing with like typical grammar and spelling and stuff you would see in books. But I'm hating this. I'm not liking this at all. The whole thing makes me angry. And yes, I do agree that there are some things in real life that would happen if this happened. And like the way he was being treated before is true. Like, it's not that I think everything is like bad, but the things that I'm really hating, and I don't like anything about it. I don't even like our main character. There's really nothing about this that I like, and the back spoils it. Like, it literally, I don't know. I'm hating this. As it goes in these videos, there's apparently one that I hate every time, and this is it. I'm so I don't know if I'm going to talk to you again or if I'm just going to finish it, but I'm not having a good time. I'm 72% in. I don't really have a lot to say other than I'm still not liking this. That's it. That's the update. I finished Flowers for Algernon, and I hate this book. I hate it. I hate it. Everything I said earlier still applies. Nope. 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 1 star. So I'm doing some last minute editing, and I wanted to quickly just talk about Flowers for Algernon. So this book is so popular. Apparently this was on school reading lists for a really long time. I personally have never heard of it before this. I never read it in school. Nobody that I grew up with has read this that I'm aware of. Like, I think it was kind of discontinued by the time that I was like at the age where people were reading this in high school. So this was written in 1959. I think that at the time it was written, it was probably fairly groundbreaking. It was meant to humanize people with disabilities, which like sucks that that needed to be a thing, but like I can acknowledge that that is a thing, and that I'm sure this book was really important for a lot of people. But personally, reading this like with my knowledge now, my personal experiences, different things like that, this felt offensive. There were a lot of things that happened that I did not like personally. And I don't like the idea of a story that is made for you to feel bad for people with disabilities and for you to learn to empathize with them. And I get that some people need that, but for me, I didn't like it. It's not coming from the perspective of somebody with a disability. It is this like old dude that wrote this book. I mean, maybe he has some more personal experience, but like I don't think I don't know. I just wanted to clarify that I don't like this book. Reading it from the viewpoint that I read it, I would not personally recommend this book. I didn't like the story itself. I didn't like the messages in it, in my opinion. But when it was written, it was a different time, and I guess it was something that was needed. So I can appreciate it for that, but personally, still, enjoyment wise, this was still 1 star. I don't like this book, but also I do recognize the impact that it had on a lot of people. And I'm not saying that this book should not exist, but I think there's so many other things that should be prioritized over this now that like I just don't recommend it. This one is a tough one for me to talk about, but I wanted to come in and give you a little more other than like me saying I hated the book and giving it 1 star. So there's that. Moving on. Hello, I am 52% into The Obsession. I was planning on updating you earlier, but I was making dinner and didn't realize that I listened to so much of this. So, this is a YA thriller. It's interesting because this is the author of Dial A for Aunties, which is a very different vibe. So far, this is okay for me. So we are following Logan and Delilah, and Logan is a stalker. He's obsessive. He has done this in the past, and I think something happened to that girl, but we don't know what. And then like this new girl kind of looks like the other girl, and he decides that he's in love with her and like is the perfect person for her and all this stuff. So he stalks her, and he thinks he's being romantic. So obviously she's keeping secrets too, and wants to hide them, and he wants to find things out and like have control over her, but she is over being controlled by men. So that's what's happening. It's feeling like maybe 3 stars, 3.5 stars. It's fine, but for some reason I'm not loving it like I thought I would, which is kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. I think at this point I'll probably just talk to you again when I'm done. I have sprints on my channel soon, so I'll be able to finish it in 2 sprints, I think. So yeah, I'll talk to you later. So I have finished The Obsession by Jessie Q. Sutanto, and I think this one for me is going to be 3 stars. So it was one that while I was reading it, I didn't have any real complaints. I was never considering DNFing. I was interested, but at the same time, this is one that I could have put down and been okay with not picking up again. Like, I wasn't ever wanting to do that, but it's not one that I needed to know the ending. It's not one that I was so into that like I couldn't put it down. Yeah, for me, this was just okay. I don't think this was bad by any means. I think it's a good read. I enjoyed the audiobook. I listened to that and I read along. It was a very quick read, but for some reason this one just like didn't completely work for me. I honestly don't know why. I feel like part of it is probably just it being YA, and I think I just needed a little more plot maybe. I didn't have any sort of attachment to the characters. The one, like, obviously you're supposed to not like, and then the other one, like, was fine, but I don't know. This definitely does have a lot of like darker subject matter, especially if you've read Dial A for Aunties. That one does like have murder in it, but it's very cozy feeling. This is not. It's darker, it's more gritty, which usually I prefer, but I don't know. I don't know. This one just like wasn't my favorite, but I would still recommend this if people are interested. So I have made it. I don't even know because I already took out my bookmark and returned my Libby loan. I think I made it like 40 pages into Hello Transcriber. This is the book that Sarah and I planned to buddy read. I found out about this book from Sarah. I ended up getting a copy, and we decided to buddy read it for this because we both really enjoy thrillers, but we don't want domestic thrillers, so we are always looking for more unique type of thrillers to read, and this felt like that, but it's boring. So I am DNFing it because I just don't care at all. We are following a police transcriber. She's an overnight transcriber, so she's transcribing like detectives' reports and their like recordings and stuff. And then there's something weird with her neighbor, and then this like lead detective, I don't know. It was really boring, and there's the start of a strange romance in here. I didn't really like any of it. I found it really easy to not pay attention to, even like reading along and listening to the audio. Like I don't know, couldn't focus on it. And usually if that's the case, I just don't vibe with the writing and it's not a book for me. So yeah, I really didn't make it very far into this, but I'm not gonna finish it. And I'm sorry. I did decide that I'm not ever going to DNF books that the other person gave to me to read because I want to see the whole taste lining up thing. But I don't feel as weird about DNFing these, like the buddy reads, so I'm definitely going to do that. So this is my last book, so sorry. It is what it is. I will talk to you soon with a wrap up. Okay, so I'm going to wrap things up for you. Before I read anything, I don't think I gave you a prediction, but I was thinking that probably Sarah liked this one. And after reading it, I still think she probably liked it. And then I wasn't completely sure about these. I think Sarah has liked Colleen Hoover before, and like the books she reads, it makes sense that she would like Colleen Hoover. But is this a trick? Like, am I supposed to think she liked it because I think she would be a Colleen Hoover fan? And she gave it to me to trick me? But also, this is like an old book. And I feel like, why would she have picked this if she didn't like it? I don't know, maybe because of the weird format she didn't like this one. The way she worded her video made it sound like maybe this was not one she liked. But once again, is she trying to trick me? So, I'm gonna look at her ratings and I will be back. Okay, so Goodreads is being weird and I can't tell if there's a rating for everything, but this was a 5-star. Cannot relate. Sarah gave this one 2 stars. She said that if she hadn't read another book that did the same thing but better, she would have liked this more, so that's valid. And then this one was a 4.5 rounded up to 5. So I was correct about this one. I probably would have guessed that she liked this one and not this one, so I was wrong. So Sarah and I were very opposite on this one. She gave it 5 stars and I gave it 1. Layla, she gave 2 stars and I gave it 4. And then The Obsession, she gave 4.5, but it's rounded up to 5, so 5. And I'm giving it 3. So nothing really lined up. So this kind of went as expected for me personally. Oh, also, we both did DNF, Hello Transcriber. So that is one thing we did line up on. That one was just boring and kind of not what either of us expected. I personally am not surprised that none of these things matched up. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. And I'd love to know who you would like to see me do this video with in the future. Once again, thank you so much to Sarah for agreeing to do this project with me. I had a lot of fun talking about it. Being like cryptic and secret about her thoughts on these books. If you are not already subscribed to Sarah, please do so. I love her. She has a great channel. And just a reminder, as soon as you're done watching this video, go watch Sarah's. That will be linked for you, where she read 3 books that I gave to her, 2 I liked and 1 I did not. I cannot wait to see how this goes, and maybe hers will have gotten a little better than mine. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye!